Going to tell me to cut this off
yeah,
at some point, but let's go ahead, Mito.
Great points on education, and I think, and congratulations on pursuing your postgraduate qualifications. Inspired a lot of young South Africans in townships today. I think you gave a really good account for why South Africans continue to vote for the ANC, but I want to add one more thing to that. And the reason I think a lot of South Africans continue to vote for the ANC is because the opposition politics of South Africa, including yourself, suffers from a credibility crisis. So you may say a lot of noble and nice things, but people don't trust you, and rightfully so. The examples we have is that the DA says that they care about black people and poor people, but only 9% of their parliamentary caucus are black women, where 75% of their parliamentary caucus are white men. So you can't trust a party that preaches one thing and behaves in another. Similarly, your party's done similar things. The fact that you suspended certain members while all of the Mogale City members who voted with the ANC there, that was preaching one thing when you had a secret valid vote of no confidence a few weeks before that and acting in the opposite direction. We can't trust that you believe that principle. Importantly, and this is a bit tongue-in-cheek, but you often criticize Malusi Gigaba for his expensive shoes, but you yourself are seen at rallies with Gucci loafers. You're doing exactly the thing you're criticizing. A bit of a joke, but it's important. Your party continues to exclude people based on other things, arbitrary factors like voting in a certain direction using their conscience. And I think even in your party, the representation of women in the top leadership is not as transparent or is not at a level where it's supposed to be. The fact that the most prominent members of your party is yourself, Floyd Mbuyiseni, and the advocates. What do you have to say about correcting the credibility crisis that you have caused for yourself? And how do you think South Africans will gain confidence in you? Another thing, you know you've been embroiled in tax situations, and that can't be by accident. You have not yet apologized to South Africans for not paying taxes, because that is active theft. You're stealing from the people. Where is the apology? Are we getting it anytime soon?
Thank you. The first thing we need to get right is that there was never a secret ballot in Mogale City. There was never a secret ballot, so give yourself wrong on that one. And therefore, you cannot say you voted in a secret ballot, and therefore when people voted secret ballot, you expelled them. It's not true. It's factually incorrect. Secondly, that there was no voting in Mogale City. Right? So give yourself another wrong on that. Because the EFF with the ANC came together and then they passed the budget. And because there was no opposition to the budget, there was no need for voting. So before you stand up, especially where there are cameras, before we mislead people, we have to get our facts right. So the Mogale City chaps were told, don't go to a council in Mogale City because we want the municipality to fail to pass the budget, so that we can have a rerun in Mogale City. Why? Because the people of Mogale City are subjected to unstable government. The difference between the ANC and the opposition party was one vote. Every time they go to a council, they come with a new mayor. You cannot subject the people of Mogale City to such thing of unstable government. So we had to say to them, let's pull out and then go for a rerun and have a stable government, so that the people of Mogale City, they know that once you go to council, the council will come back intact with a program to better our lives. What do the EFF people do? They go to that council after agreeing with us and not raising an objection in the meeting. They all agree that this is what we're going to do. So they go and pass the budget and then trust the ANC crooks with the purse. How do you leave a criminal with a purse? So, and then you say to me, that is conscience. I thought conscience has got to do with something good and correct. It can't be conscience if it's perpetuation of corruption. So we were not going to agree that such corrupt element should continue in Mogale City. So they had to be subjected to the discipline. When it comes to tax, we need to know that the SARS responsibility, Jack, I saw Jack was here earlier on. You must write in the new book. The SARS responsibility is not punitive to taxpayers. Their first task is to educate a taxpayer. I come from a very poor family. I never had that qualification of education I have now. I had very little knowledge on how those taxes are dealt with. I actually thought that my employer is responsible for my tax. When the matter was brought to my attention, it was brought today with an intention to attack me. You don't, and if that is going to be the attitude of SARS, it will collapse. It must not have an attitude of punishing people. SARS' first intervention should be compliance. Help you to comply. Not in a single day did SARS help me to comply. Black people will come from a different background. They never said to me, Julius, you have made a mistake here, let's sit here, correct here, and all that. They've never done that. They just went for me because I held a different view. One, on white monopoly capital, which Van Lochenberg, a racist of note, didn't become comfortable with. But equally, I took to SARS a dossier that Mike, the discredited Mike, brought to my office. I said to them, there is a rogue unit here. Only after I said to them, there is a rogue unit here which has been following us and doing all types of things, I became an enemy with SARS. And then they started going after me for political expediency and for racist reasons, without helping this young person to be compliant. They should help me to comply. Failure to comply, then they must punish me. That's how you build a country. You don't just go for an attack and hope for a cooperation. Once you attack me, I'm going to react. I'm no coward. And I took them to cleaners. I took them head on and exposed their shenanigans. They gave me the first assessment. I queried it, and then they attached my properties with the hope that they will destroy me. Little did they know that I was not a product of material. I come from a very poor background. I survived difficult conditions for me to be where I am. I fought with them. They gave me a settlement which they refused to compromise till to date. They gave me the second compromise. I took them to court. When they arrived in court, I said to a judge, these people gave me a settlement today, and the following day they gave me a new assessment. The judge asked them, when you gave him the first settlement, were you not aware that there is a second assessment? Because when you give him a settlement, you are simply saying to him, oh, we have now come to agree that you cannot afford. How do you say he can't afford today, and then tomorrow he can afford? Nothing has changed in his life. They pulled my case out of court and said, no, let's go and settle. When they went out of court, they changed against me because Moyane called them to a hotel and said, you are embarrassing me. You must continue to pursue him. They pursued me. I pursued them back. Then we went to the settlement court, the SARS settlement court. The court gave me a settlement. I had a case of, they wanted almost 18 million from me. We settled at 1.8 million. Me and them, I told them I don't have anything. There's nothing I can give you except the salary of parliament. These are shenanigans. They wanted to sequestrate me because they wanted to take me out of parliament for simple reason that they don't agree with me. The judge asked them, the Sequestration Act is weaker than the SARS Act. Why are you not using the SARS Act if you are not pursuing him for other reasons, if it's about tax collection? I defeated them. They didn't want me to be a member of parliament for political reasons. So why should I apologize for people who are pursuing me politically? It's wrong not to pay tax. I know that today, and I pay my taxes without fail. All of us must pay our taxes. The black younger brothers, pay your taxes. If you don't have knowledge like me, ask around. The mistake I did was not to ask around. They used tax against me. Anyone else who disagrees with these people, make sure your taxes are compliant, because they use tax to silence you. Why must I apologize for political onslaught? They attacked me, and I took them to court. Every time they were in court, they were getting out of the court. Why didn't they want to take me in an open court if I was wrong? I took them to an open court because I've got nothing to hide. I took them to an open court. They never wanted to go to an open court. When Tricky Nick Maretz, their lawyer, couldn't answer the cases in Pretoria, he came during break and said, guys, let's withdraw this thing. We're done. We accept Mr. Malema's explanation. Tricky Nick is tricking me.
Okay,
so that's it. You see, I never criticize and say Malusi must not wear expensive shoes. I say Malusi wears expensive shoes, and therefore is in no position to claim that he is not part of the corruption, because how does Malusi afford those expensive shoes with a ministerial salary? I never said he must not wear expensive shoes. Black people wear them. If you can afford them, if they are not a product of corruption, wear them. Who must wear them? They must wear them. I used Malusi's example to demonstrate that he's receiving cash, that he cannot afford to change a 45,000 suit every day. It was in that context. Get the context right, my brother.
Guys, we're going to have to cut it off there. I'm sorry, we're done. We are done. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you
for showing up. We really appreciate it. The ANC didn't. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys, and that's that.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you for that. And on that note, that is the end of this gathering. Thank you for coming, everyone. It's been a long day. Basically, go home safely, and we'll see you at the next one. Thank you very much. Cheers.